What's up everyone, welcome to Beyond the Booster vlog episode 13. It's the 15th of October when you're watching this, so happy birthday Charlie. It's my brother's birthday. Enjoy the game that I got you, New World Eternum, I believe, MMO style, or at least it's an online only game. I've not played it. Played the first one partially, but it wasn't for me, but I hope you enjoy it. You've asked for that, so you've made your bed. Let me know if you played that though. Is it a good game? So from a sales and Eddie's Emporium business perspective, this week we've had a fair few things. New Tarkir set came through. I say new, it has been restocked, but it's the first time Eddie's Emporium has been able to get their hands on it at distributed prices, which means actually below retail prices for you because I'm a nice guy. At least if you're on Eddie's Emporium website, you get them, obviously. I try and do below retail as much as I possibly can because being digital, I can potentially afford to obviously eat into my profit margins to give you better prices, which is kind of where I want to go with this. But obviously not always possible, but when I can, I got you. On that note as well, we've put reservations down on the Lorwyn set, so that'll be very exciting. Tempted to do pre-orders for it, but I want to kind of get a bit close to when we get more of an understanding in terms of the actual allocations. We got some collector boosters, got some bundles, play boosters and all that kind of stuff in the pipeline with our distributor, which is very exciting. Again, it's really nice to be able to get into these releases with our new distributor because it's obviously means that we're doing things properly and you're not getting market prices. And on that note, some really cool things that we've got coming down the pipeline. Well, I say very shortly as well. We've got the new Hololive set coming out, I think 17th, potentially wrong, but we've got that allocation there. So that'll be up on our store soon for probably a pre-order, so you can get them obviously sent to you straight away. And the same for Azur Lane in English. So they'll both be coming out. The Azur Lane, we've only got, I think, 2 boxes of though, because it's so in demand because those healthy females are very in demand in the West. It's a jungle out there. On a mini rant note, there is the whole like if you've ever sold on eBay and you've had a card get lost in the post, the amount I get lost in the post is, I say it's not surprising because I'm so dead behind the eyes with it now, but of late I've bought that collection off my friend. Obviously the cards I didn't want to grade or sell on other platforms I put up for auction via eBay, and I think it was something silly like 30% of the cards I sent on second class postage came back as lost. And sometimes I'm not saying these people did or did not, so if you are watching this, please don't come for me, but there is a significant disparity between when I sell on all the other platforms, even my own website when I sell second class, versus the eBay it's been lost situation, because I incur that at like a 30% rate is ridiculous, and I sold like 20 items, so like 4, 6, whatever the rate is there. And I don't know whether it's like a culture of kind of like being protected by eBay and the buyer protection thing, but as a seller, you're already having to eat into the entire like eBay fees, and they do rinse you to bits there. Obviously it's competitive on there, so you lower your prices, and then when you have to go through the entire like refund process, which I absolutely do, because it's, if you've lost it, you've lost it. I can't prove it. And then I reach out to Royal Mail, fill out the entire collection forms, but it's so admin heavy, quite an Eyeroll situation. So it's one of them things that where I can, I will always do tracked. But obviously if you're selling a £2, £4, £6 card, you don't want to spend £2.70 getting that tracked on top of eBay fees and maybe whatever you paid for it at the start. You're looking at making £1-2 at best. Anything under £5, don't forget about it, because you're barely even making any money. I think I did the math for a business, of course. You have to sell at around £3 or above before eBay fees and obviously free postage, which I do with most of my cards and boosters, to even start making a profit before it starts costing you money. So you usually need to bundle them up. But yeah, let me know if that's something you experience, because I experience it too much. Too much. We also had our first Mega submission come back, which Mega to me, Mega to you might be different things. You might be bigger in this game than me, but I had a 50 card submission come back. This is part of it, going through the entire cataloguing, taking photos, creating the listings, and putting them all up on the lovely website. You'll see, sorry, mirrored thing over there. That box beforehand wasn't even full, and I'm talking like maximum 20 to 25% full beforehand, and it's where I want to go with it, because I want to create affordable, exciting cards. I mean, my favorite one personally from this horde, it's a, keep doing it that way, there you go, that way, is the Digimon original series. We've got some Angemons, and I can't remember what the other one was, a Vidramon from the sets. I started to kind of pick multiple brands to see, firstly, from a business perspective, obviously first and foremost, for a business, what kind of excites people, because Pokemon is a bread and butter brand for TCG, but it's not the only one, and it's not the only people I want to supply to. So this will be quite exciting. So if you do want to kind of see what we've got up on there, you know, there's Yu-Gi-Oh!, Y Schwartz, Dinosaur Kings at Old Sega, obviously Digimon, One Piece, there is some Dragon Ball as well. All on the website. You'll always get the best prices there, because you save the most, because I don't have to pay hardly any fees. So just remember, with any seller, if they've got a direct website, myself or anyone else, you'll probably always spend more on eBay. And unfortunately, you bad eggs who get lost in the post, they're all tracked, these ones. So I'm watching you. I'm joking, of course. And just a reminder, my lovely partner who surprised me with a 30th birthday gift. Yes, I am turning officially Unk status. I probably turned that mentally a long time ago, to be honest. She's taking me to Iceland at the beginning of November, which I'm very excited for, but that means I'm going to be away from the Emporium. So while the website will stay open and accepting orders, between the 1st and the 7th, potentially 8th, I won't be able to fill them orders until I'm back, of course. So I appreciate your patience, and obviously anything paid before then, I'll make sure I get sent out. But during that period, you can still buy, but please remember. I'll put a little note on the website as well, just so it's not just this entire video. And I'll put something on my small social medias. And if you don't follow me there, fancy hitting that button. So in TCG news and other things, there's some really cool things happening. I firstly managed to get hold of Mega Evolutions and open some myself. If you've not seen the video, it's up there. I hadn't bought packs for myself in a minute. You know, if you're starting something like this, you know, all your money and investment needs to go into that. If it's not going into that, it's going into the wedding that I'm planning, and also, you know, general life savings with my partner, saving up for a house, etc., etc. And I tell you what, it was very exciting. It was reminiscent of Crown Zenith, the feelings, the excitement. Definitely one of the favourite ones, and I'm pretty sure that's quite shared throughout the hobby. Managed to get the Mars Shadow, which obviously, looking back on the Sun and Moon, it mimics that card. And you can see a little Pikachu in the background there. So yeah, if you really want to kind of take a trip down memory lane, check out that video, because it's very, very cool. But yeah, my immediate thoughts on Mega Evolution: there was good quality control. I enjoyed the printing, enjoyed the centering. Supply seems to be there, because it's not really like a main brand name, you know, and I say this very loosely because I've not tried to get any more. There seems to be supply available. Like I went into my Smith's Toy Superstore at 2 p.m. and just asked on a whim, and they had blister packs, booster packs left. No ETBs. I think they only got like 10 or 11 of them, but it's a positive sign, because it's such a fun set. So if you're not being able to get any, or you're feeling a bit disheartened, check out that, because it might put a smile on your face. On a different note, you know, the Magic the Gathering Spider-Man set, it's a bit of a, you know, divide the room kind of situation. You've got, on the other hand, some of the people are playing the game and liking the game, obviously, for the game. Not too much of a big fan of that. And then you've got the investors on one side kind of being like, oh, this is a dud. But actually, you know, when you're looking at the community and where you have cards, there is a £20,000 card in those collector packs. And it's quite hard to say a set's a flop on a financial and investment basis when you've got a card that's, you know, worth the price of kind of a beta Black Lotus. You know, that's graded. And I think that's quite interesting on two parts, because I know Rudy was saying, and you know, I watched quite a few of his videos just to understand more about the Magic history, the Magic lore, because I am so new to the Magic world. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on this, but he certainly is, and he's made a bloody good fortune out of TCG and the cardboard empire that he owns. So he's more than qualified to, I think, make these calls. And he was saying that, you know, the Spider-Man collector booster boxes is a very good opportunity on the basis that, you know, if you've got a card like this that feels as rare as a serialized card and is going for the prices that it is dictating at the moment, of course, as supply comes out, that will probably not be a 20 grand card anymore. But for it to be that and be one of the cheaper collector booster boxes that you can pick up, the first collaboration for Marvel, be a reasonable pickup. You know, if you are investing in Magic the Gathering, it's a good opportunity. Am I going to pick up some? No. Why? Because I've got start a business, and I don't have the capital to do so. But if you do have that and you are wanting a really cool collaboration, it might be worth your time. That's not financial advice, by the way, so please don't come for me with an invoice if that does not work out. So in a bit of a merch one, with the 30th anniversary Pokemon around the corner next year, apparently Adidas has came out with a potential collaboration with Pokemon for the 30th anniversary, which would be amazing, because I don't know about you, I want to rep Pokemon merch as much as the next guy, but the Pokemon merch sucks. Very few collaborations have made it cool for adults to wear. I mean, I've got Pokemon socks and everything like that, but they are Pokemon socks and they're very much just a print on a Pokemon sock. And I feel that the Pokemon Center kind of does that as well. So hopefully if we get some Adidas originals, and like if you get an originals line with the originals, you know, the original 3, the original starters Pokemon, there could be something really cool there that I'd be very excited to kind of see where it goes. And I'll be first in line if it's a hot property, because I need some more clothes, because I've not bought any for myself in a while. Maybe I should buy some more clothes. So this one's a bit of a meaty one, but you've probably seen it around, and if you follow me on TikTok, I've already done a bit of a small coverage on this one. So the new generation mainline story for the Pokemon franchise, Pokemon Wind and Wave, have been leaked. And it's pretty interesting, the concepts and the things that they're suggesting that could happen throughout that. Of course, it's all speculation. It could be rumoured. It could all change. I'm not even going to get into the other ones later down the line, because there was a few other Pokemon games that were announced. But, you know, at this point, I feel that they would just change it all. So I'm only going to cover the most recent one. So apparently Wind and Wave is based in Southeast Asia. And this is going to predominantly mimic in Indonesia, which was quite surprising, because when there was kind of some leaks about it initially, people assumed it would be Greece, island hopping and all that kind of thing, but actually it kind of mimics the same island hopping kind of mechanic, which will be quite cool. It'd be nice to get some tropical vibes from Pokemon if that is Indonesia and they are basing off that. So there's a new battle mechanic called Tenkai Waza, which is kind of loosely translated to weather moves, which will be quite interesting, whether that could be, you know, mimicking the monsoon season down in the tropics, or it could be down to, you know, just storm based Pokemon, which would be quite cool. I quite like the idea of weather Pokemon. So the idea of this, alleged idea of course, you start with a seed Pokemon, and the seed Pokemon can essentially be with you from the start. I don't know what the seed Pokemon is part of a seed species, whether that's a dedicated starter line like you do have the like original 3, or, you know, that you start the game with. That's obviously to be determined. But apparently when these seed species get to kind of a legendary island, where that game's legendary would be, it would start to evolve based on the interactions there and then. So it'd be quite interesting whether you have either a 1 or a 2 stage evolution, because obviously if that is the case, or maybe it's a gateway to be able to unlock evolving, you would have to, in theory, interact with the legendary pretty early if you think about the level 16 that you would get to in order to get that second stage starter Pokemon, or seed Pokemon in this instance, and of course the final evolution of that. So it'd be quite interesting to see what kind of dynamic they're doing with this one, but it is a bit of a different type of game from the traditional gyms from what they're making sound, so bear with me. Oh, and also I forgot the part that this can apparently have infinite variations. Now I don't know whether this is a bit of lore that's being dropped, or if it's like a procedurally generated Pokemon, which I couldn't imagine ever working in Pokemon just on an IP basis, that you have Pokemon cards, you have to have a dedicated Pokemon. So I think this could be a lore type thing where you get a seed Pokemon of a seed species and it could go anywhere with it. So in terms of the story that covered, there's some of the characters that have been rumoured or at least leaked. So you start as a 13-year-old, male or female, and you kind of come from a big city. This could be Kuala Lumpur, I think, is where they're basing the origin of your character from. You meet your traditional rival over there, and they are around 13 years old. They're in one of the resorts that you go to. Your mum's about 33. Apparently, the reason that you kind of start the game, she works in the big city, Kuala Lumpur, and then she wins basically a ticket to a resort from her work for dedication and hard work. Go, mum. And that's where you will start to interact with a lot of characters, probably where the start of the story begins. So as you get to the hotel, you'll likely interact with the hotel chairman, which he is kind of the rich man on the island who is very in tune with the way of life. He owns a chain of hotels around the island or islands, and you will then go to one or the other. But he wanted to create a environment in which Pokemon coexist with other trainers and that way of life. He apparently has a son, the heir, who is adopted but is quite naive to life and has potentially a few issues there, and I think this could tie into the next part. So you have a land development group which is going to be almost the Team Rocket of this story, and this will probably come in to be the counter to the chairman who likes Pokemon coexisting with people. And then you have the land development team who are looking at purely from a commercial and profit perspective. The middle part, the bridge here, I think would be the naive son, in which the land development team would start taking an advantage of that naive son, the heir, who would then obviously inherit at that time, and maybe something might happen to the old chairman in the story, in which then would be that leverage for the land development team to maybe take ownership or try and make a move in the story. Then we have the professor, which is quite interesting in this one because the professor's 21 years old apparently in this story, or alleged story. Then you have the professor being known as the survivor professor, or Pokemon professor of surviving, something along them lines. And he's going into the jungle and teaching you how to potentially survive, but he studies weather Pokemon, which ties into obviously the storm and the wave. My initial first thought was maybe cast form and them Pokemon play a bigger part here, and maybe we'll even get variations of cast form that we're yet to see. But it'll be quite interesting, especially with being a younger professor. It's quite exciting. He's probably quite out there, which is probably why he's just out amongst it rather than at home researching, kind of like our guy, Professor Oak. And so within that, you have two kind of key mechanics. You have apparently surviving in the jungle is going to be a big part of this, which is quite interesting because maybe there is a lot of space in between cities or places, or potentially you will interact or have hazardous areas that maybe, I wouldn't imagine it being like a horror type game, but you probably have maybe horror type mechanics where you have to be in and out of a certain area for so long, or maybe you're getting stalked by wild Pokemon, or maybe it's weather conditions. Maybe you get stuck in the jungle during monsoon season, obviously, which should be in Southeast Asia. There is many things which coincidentally is a storm. Now, I can't imagine a tsunami coming in, which would be wave, but I could be proven wrong here. There is also the thing where you can go underwater. So that takes me back to Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, where you can just go diving under the water. That'll be quite cool, especially being tropics. You've got the coral reefs. Really cool Pokemon there. We're starting to see that exploration with Scarlet and Violet. But yeah, definitely a bit more to break down, obviously, when stuff actually gets confirmed. And finally, the lobbies of the hotel. I think I'm going to guess the main hotel or hotels. They're going to act as like an MMO lobby. So you'll be able to see loads of other Pokemon trainers interacting with that lobby. That you'll be able to probably live chat, be with your friends. We saw that, I believe you could play with your friends in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, I believe. I could be wrong on that one because I didn't play it since its buggy mess of a game got patched, and I've just not picked it up since after completing it, but there was some pretty cool stuff coming about there. So yeah, that's it for this week's episode. It'll be quite interesting to see how things and rumours develop, but you know, if you are interested in anything on my store or anything about stuff I'm covering or not covering, let me know in the comment section, because it's all happening. There's way too much to cover. I'll probably start breaking these up into more and more mini videos as I kind of get into the swing of YouTubing and being one of these people that talks to a camera for a living. But if you are having a good week and you have some money to spend and you go, I don't know what to spend it on, there is a website, www.eddiesemporium.co.uk, and you can go there and spend your lovely shillings and get some pretty nice RNG shiny cardboard. If you'd like, of course. No pressure. But yeah, I'll catch you on next week's video, and in the meantime, ciao.